Joaquin Phoenix whacking his cock out. Pog. Joker. I loved the show. The voice acting was good. The story was good. These 2 episodes were so poorly lit. I literally was like, I'm not sure if it's actually worth it at this point. And I think Rogue coming through in the 80s might have been one of the earlier characters that kind of got that extension of you don't have to be perfect, you just have to be trying to be better. I understand with stuff like this, it makes it take longer. I'm willing to wait longer when artists, have good working conditions, first and foremost, but when they let them have fun with stuff like this, to say to themselves it was going to be Professor Squid. But when he went Prof Ock, I was like, fucking hell, we are flying close to the sun, aren't we? Hello, and welcome to episode 109 of Cutscene Convos. We have got an absolute jam-packed episode this week. Our character profile is on the woman with the deadly touch, Rogue. We've got The Bad Batch, episode 10 and 11.
Double bill.
We've got X-Men 97, episode 4. And we've got the season finale of Invincible season 2, as well as a nice, juicy Nerd News Network. But for all that good stuff, Horizontal, how has your week been?
My week's been strangely, it's like weirdly busy and not busy at the same time. It's been, I think, a weird one because of bank holiday. We had obviously Easter bank holiday, so I stayed at the girlfriend's an extra day because obviously she had the Monday off.
Yeah.
So that made the weekend longer, which kind of threw things off. But it was nice. We chilled. We even did ended up going to do a random impromptu escape room on the Monday because my mate's girlfriend works at one of them and she had a free slot, so she'd messaged him in the afternoon and was like, "Do you three want to come do an escape room at this time? Yes or no? Need to know now." So we were like, "Yeah, fuck it." So that was fun.
Rock and roll.
And then this week I've not really got much done because I've been playing Uncle all week. I've got a nephew staying here with my parents, so it's Uncle Cam. Uncle Cam. I'm apparently the best thing since sliced bread this week. So
it's so funny because despite you being much, much older than me, you've got the young nephew running around, whereas my nephew is like 16 years old, 17 years old.
Yeah.
Fuck. See, he might actually be turning 18 this year.
Damn.
No, I think I've got another year. So yeah, that's the joy of having an older brother who's significantly older. You have a nephew that's like nearly able to drink. So my years of being Uncle Connor, come play are long gone, and I don't have to do it now that my knees are shot to pieces.
Yeah, see, now it's like, Uncle Cam, I want to go upside down, or I want to go on your shoulders, or yeah.
And you're like, no, I tore my shoulder.
Or it's like, I want to play on your computer, and I'm like, nope. We're not playing around with this expensive stuff.
Nope.
But it's been fun. And got some work and some projects and playing around with some creative stuff today. So yeah, that's how my week's been. How's your week?
My week has been chaos. Obviously, bank holiday weekend, that was spent getting the beginning of stuff sorted for flat. Now we've obviously got keys and we're in. So all day Saturday and Sunday basically was spent backwards and forwards to show family who hadn't seen the flat yet, the flat, go out shopping to buy some of them bits that we hadn't bought yet. Just constant all over the place. I've never felt so pulled from arsehole to breakfast time in my entire life.
Yeah.
But it was good. We're making good progress now. Our friend who's doing the electrics for us came around today. And he has said he can do all the stuff no problem.
Nice.
So that will hopefully be done next week. We've got coffee table put together. We've got an actual dining room table put together. We've got some bookshelves put together. We've got the beginning of some wardrobes put together. there is a slow little home being pieced together,
I bet.
which is stunning. So then it will just be a couple of weeks of moving things we don't need every single day round. And then at some point it will be, right, I'm now booking days off work and disabling an L-shaped desk set up with everything wired horrifically and transporting it safely as I can. So that will be fun. So yeah,
Tech issues.
stay tuned for them updates over
Yeah,
the
there's
next
going
few
to be
weeks.
many tech issues. I can
You're
see
just
it
going to
now.
see stuff in the background slowly disappear, and then it's just going to be a new background.
Yeah.
It's going to be like a stop motion film. It's going to be quite funny. So yeah, busy week. I mean, I've been back to work this week while my partner and father have been around the flat sorting bits out. So I've not done any of that to manual labour as such. But I've been going around after work every day to just see how they're getting on. Feels proper weird though when like your father and your partner have been putting furniture together all day, and obviously you trust them. And I'm like pop around at the end of the workday just to see how they've got on. And it just feels like you're a foreman making sure they've been working hard enough. And it's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to go like, oh, have you got on today? Was there any massive issues? But it just, as you're walking around, you do just
Making
feel
sure
like,
they're not slacking.
yeah, you do just feel
Time
a bit
to
like
lean,
that dick who
time to
turned up.
clean.
Yeah, exactly. Which isn't the greatest feeling because they're like, I was just curious how it was going. But yeah, no, we're doing all right. We are getting there, so to speak. Anyway, character profile this week is on Rogue. So Anne Marie, aka Rogue, first appeared in Avengers Annual Number 10 in August 1981. Rogue's mutant ability hinders her. A young girl with lots of love to give, but unable to touch anyone without potentially killing them. Rogue's mutant ability manifested during her very first kiss, leaving the boy on the other side comatose. This was due to Rogue's uncontrollable ability. Through skin-to-skin contact, Rogue can temporarily replicate people's skills, powers, memories, and personalities, at the expense of draining the person of some of their life force, risking their life if the connection lasts too long. When Rogue ran away from her home as her strict aunt and distant father gave her no support, she was adopted by the leader of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, Mystique and Destiny. After accidental contact with Destiny revealed to Rogue that Miss Marvel would ruin their happy lives, she decided to attack her. This confrontation led to Rogue accidentally absorbing her entire persona and, of course, her superhuman abilities. Struggling with the additional mind inside her brain, Rogue sought out Mystique's and the Brotherhood of Evil's arch enemy, Charles Xavier, for help. Despite many protests from the X-Men members, Xavier agreed to help her and reminded the rest of the X-Men of their rule towards mutants, to only try and help. He even invited her to stay long-term, risking other members walking out altogether. Rogue decided to take him up on that offer, and very slowly she managed to earn the trust of everyone on the team and became a core member of the team for many, many years. She went on to marry co-X-Men Remy LeBeau, or Gambit, as he's known to many. And I think she's very much a cornerstone of what the X-Men are, in the sense of we don't care what you've been, what you've done, we'll give you a second chance and let you be the best version you can be. Wolverine was an assassin for many years. He was a pawn for many years. He was a loner. He was brought into as part of a team. You had Remy, who was a petty thief and a gambling addict and got in a lot of trouble. They gave him another chance and turned him into something good. Same with Rogue. Same with anyone. I mean, I think at times even the Juggernaut, although he's not a mutant, even the Juggernaut's been like on the friendly side because they're willing to give chances, no matter what. And I think that's very important. And I think Rogue coming through in the 80s might have been one of the earlier characters that kind of got that extension of you don't have to be perfect, you just have to be trying to be better.
Yeah.
And I think that's then been a philosophy that stayed with the XM for an extended period.
Yeah, which is very cool.
Yes, very much. The Bad Batch.
Yes, we got a double bill.
Right. We're going to say a lot of very good things about these two episodes.
I
These
think I know what you're about to
motherfuckers
say.
don't learn how to light a scene nicely again. I'm going to lose my mind. How? Bearing in mind, in the last 10 to 15 years, this has been the most common nitpick with really good TV.
Mm-hmm.
There's a scene at night and everyone's like, I couldn't see anything. Why are we doing this?
Mm-hmm.
Animation has the easiest escape solution, and Star Wars themselves have done it the best.
Yeah, they have in the past.
And they just now refuse to do it.
Yeah.
I loved the show. The voice acting was good. The story was good. These two episodes were so poorly lit. I literally was like, I'm not sure if it's actually worth it at this point.
The wild
They may as
thing
well
is,
just been an audiobook.
the wild thing is, for like the majority of the night stuff, which was like on the island, right? They had the start of it. There wasn't really an easy out, but as soon as the Imperial ship showed up with a floodlight and the size that it is, there is zero reason that that island should have been in the dark. So it's, yeah, I'm with you. Like they could do a much better job of creatively lighting these night scenes. A few instances, I'm fine with it being like when Cad Bane rocked up and it's like he's silhouetted and it's a bit darker. Sure. And then it was fine after that because obviously like he stepped into the building and stuff. But yeah, I'm fine with situations like that. But having like a whole sequence where it's set at night and you can't see them running through the streets very well. Yeah.
Episode 11 being 25 minutes long and me only confidently being able to say I watched 5 minutes of it is a problem.
Yeah, see, I'm lucky because when I watch this, I can usually shut my blind and it's fine. I can get away with it. But if I was watching this on the TV, I'd be struggling.
Yeah, it's fucking dreadful. And like the problem is, I'm sat there and I'm really enjoying the show. I'm enjoying the way the story's going. I'm enjoying how it's developing and the conflict of everything. And then I'm just like, what's that? Oh, what's happening? Like, what are we doing? Like, imagine if we just recorded the whole episode with me like in this lighting.
We do, don't we?
Like, what's the fucking point? We record at night when it's dark outside. Guess what? We add lights so people can see what the fuck is going on. Oh,
Yeah,
and it's an animated show, so it's not even like they have to combat it naturally being dark and then
you
trying
could just
to
put a
not blow
blue
the
wash
exposure
over
up.
it all.
Like they did in Rebels. They went, okay, what if nighttime isn't black and it's just dark blue?
Yeah, that's what I don't get is that they could just blue wash it.
In the modern era of animation that we're currently in, where everything is so smartly put together, I think this stands out as even more egregious.
Yeah, and I think also because I don't remember the Clone Wars being this bad. I don't even remember like the first lots of Bad Batch being like this bad.
Do you want a little laugh? I don't know if you have access to Disney Plus on your machine or whatever. Open up Disney Plus because I did this early because I felt like I was going fucking crazy because it felt like it was worse this series. If you type in Bad Batch and go to it, look at the thumbnails for season 1, look at the thumbnails for season 2, then look at the thumbnails for season 3. There is a big fucking difference in all of them.
Okay,
just in the
season
thumbnails.
1. Season 2. Yeah. Season 3. Suddenly everything's in the dark.
Just why? Why does nothing ever happen during the day now?
That's a good point. I don't feel like most of this season has just been at nighttime.
It doesn't need to be.
No, it's
Like
very
in
weird.
reality, even if they wanted to go, oh, the Empire is smart, they'd attack at night. Everyone in this village was apparently awake anyway. So like, it's not even like they got a tactical advantage. But if you really wanted there to be like, they attacked at night because it was tactical, you just have there be a little time jump where they've been running around for a while, and it's the morning and it's getting brighter.
Yeah.
There's this weird thing where they're like, oh no, everything's sad and depressing, so it has to be dark. So what if you had contrast? What if you managed to make a viewer feel really sad and depressed because they can actually see what's happening?
Yeah, it's. Do you know what I think's happened? Is because they know. This is just TV in general, because generally everyone's TV setups have got better. There's less care now, which I feel like there used to be of. You would essentially. It was done with sound design mainly, but also with like coloring. You would edit to the worst setup.
Mm.
And you would make sure that someone with like for audio, it's like someone who's listening on shitty headphones and is on their phone can see it. And now, because phone screens have got better and because TVs and stuff, they just presume everyone has the perfect setup. So they color it in a studio and sound design it in a studio of like this perfect living room home cinema setup. And it's like, people don't watch that way. And it's obviously now costing them. Well, it's causing a pain now.
It's just craziness. Like the iPhone screen, because I watched the second episode at work today. The iPhone screen is so bright. Like, it can put out so much brightness that for anything that is a reasonable brightness itself, reflection of lights is never a problem. Because the screen is bright enough that it like counterbalances that. That's fine. But because this episode was so dark, I was having to like tilt my phone so that the glare was no problem, so I could see as much as what was going on as possible.
Yeah.
And yeah, in an ideal world, I would have been at home on the TV where there's much better conditions. But guess what? Not everyone has that luxury. Not everyone has the ability to do that. And I shouldn't. Oh, it was making my blood boil against an otherwise really, really good episode.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we should get into the episode.
We should. We were fucking right.
Yeah, the island was. I told you the island was going to get fucked.
Yeah. I told you Rekka was in danger as well. He's probably going to be fine. But I was like, I don't have a good feeling. Rekka's been a bit quiet so far this season.
Yeah, you were right. Rekka was the kind of weak point to attack for the fans. And then, the island's got fucked. The island's definitely not safe now.
Nope.
That island's forever going to be in Empire control. That's why we don't see it anymore.
Yeah. Them losing the island also means Omega has to die. Omega seeing the Empire do that to the place she called home, there is no way that girl doesn't end up joining the rebellion. So where the fuck's she been?
Yeah, so this is the thing now. Obviously, like we were getting two perspectives in these episodes. We've got obviously all the stuff that happened on the island. We also have Emery and Dr. Emery doing her thing. Quite clearly, Omega left a little mark, and she's shifting sides.
Well, I mean, they are the same person in essence.
Yeah, exactly.
It was funny though. I did see a lot of people talking about, oh my god, it's such a good way to show how evil the Empire are, taking 4 sensitive children away from their families and locking them away so they can never see them again. Because the Jedi never did that.
Yeah, but the Jedi let them go back and see their family. Their family was never there when they went back.
Yeah. It's so funny how this is all coming together. The nature of the show has changed so much from just the weird clones who weren't affected by their inhibitor chips go on adventures in the Empire's rule to here is child. We must protect child.
Child is very valuable to Emperor Palpatine. Yeah, I like that we got a bit more detail on the fact that Omega is the only one that's been found to be able to hold the M count. Also, we found that like M count can't be replicated. It has to have a base
Yeah.
level there, which is kind of what we were kind of
Yeah.
getting an
Does
understanding
Omega
of.
allow the M count to survive, or does she have a high M count while being a clone? It looks more like she's like something in her blood can act as a binding agent
Hmm.
to allow them to keep Emperor Palpatine's M count in his new bodies.
Yeah, I like they. I feel like everyone was expecting that, right? Well, and I guess I should take you to the vault and get you up to speed on Project Necromancy. And I was like, oh shit, we're gonna see Palpatine clones in test tubes, and then no, it's just a room of
Room of
Force
kids.
kids. And it makes sense though that they would do the test on those guys and gals
I did also,
before.
I did enjoy the little, the question was like, wouldn't it be easier to do this with more like adult subjects? He's like, there's not many of them left.
Yeah, there's not many of them left, and that are easily captured.
Yeah, and the ones that are left are not here for a good reason because they've done a very good job of not being findable.
Yeah, um, especially when you think like Obi-Wan is out there hiding
Yeah,
somewhere.
Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, the
Hmm.
such like, not people that you're easily going to bring into a base like this.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I thought it was interesting. We got a bit more detail on that. We obviously got we got Tarkin briefly
Mm,
being like, "Why do you need funds? Do you want to share some information about this?"
Really interesting that Tarkin has no clue what's going on.
Considering he's like the one in like charge of the Empire
Yeah,
visually.
when you consider from like the point of view of the original trilogy, he's kind of almost military equivalent of Darth Vader in the eyes of the Emperor.
Yeah.
Like, you've got Darth Vader who's a bit like secretive and in the shadows, and then you've got Tarkin who does the same role as Vader, but
Hmm.
publicly. For him to have no idea of Project Necromancer just shows how hidden it is. And it
Yep.
also helps explain away the fact that the rebels in the sequels had no idea this existed because Tarkin didn't even know.
Yeah, and if it gets buried for some time, Tarkin's gonna be like, "Oh well, that was a failed thing. It got buried. Unknown what it was. Doesn't matter anymore." Um,
I
yeah, I thought
still
that was
do
really
really want to
interesting.
know if Necromancer in the Star Wars world has the same connotations to this world.
I mean, they
Because
know
no
about
one's
like,
reacting like a project name that blatant. If anyone hears about that project, should be able to like that to us, that name would
yeah,
like be like, what do you mean by that? But no one's raising their eyebrows at the name. So I'm like, is it just like one of these like fun little bits where it's like it's very clear to the viewer
yeah, I
because
think
we know
so.
what a necromancer is, but in Star Wars world, necromancer is just like Bumblebee. Like, don't worry about it.
Yeah,
It's just a project name.
or other project names are so like even more wild that this is like tame to them.
It's all just Diablo subclasses. Project Barbarian.
um, but yeah, I also I enjoyed seeing Cadigan because obviously we saw he was in live action and he
Yeah.
got killed.
Yeah.
I
That
don't
had me
believe he's
hype.
dead, but yeah,
And
it was
when I saw it was Cat, I was like, oh shit, that's Campaign.
well, and that also like links in with I think we talked about the other week when we talked about tier one bounty hunters, and we're like,
Yeah.
well, that'd be like Cad Bane and Boa's not quite there yet, and obviously there you go, Cad Bane tier one. Um, it's gonna be interesting though because obviously then all the island shit went down.
Hmm.
I'm even more sure this assassin is tech.
We're definitely supposed to be thinking that. But
The
the
way
fact
it
that they're being
hacked the
so
ship,
blatant,
yeah, but
I'm a little bit like, because there was times when he was speaking
mm,
that he almost had more of a crosshair twang to
yeah,
him. And I'm kind of like, what if it's not tech, but it's like
a crosshair clone.
it's a bad batcher who's like all of the bad batch.
Oh, maybe
Like,
hadn't
there
thought of
was just
that.
something there because like I completely agree. It's got the tech vibes with the hacking, but when he was like being intimidating, he was talking quite slow and low. And Crosshair talks the most differently out of all of the clones, and that was
Mm.
closer to the way Crosshair talks. And the way he's like been hiding in the distance is given a lot of Hunter.
Yeah. I mean,
So I'm almost like, is it possible that they've
well,
reverse engineered the Bad Batch and they're just creating
possibly, because we
a
also
Bad
saw, like,
Batch?
um, Dr. Hemlock mentioned, didn't he, that the others aren't ready yet.
Yeah.
So they're obviously, like, whether that's because 'cause they're wiping their minds or doing all that stuff, or is it, like you say, clones, some, like, experimental clone?
And then, because you got to think about it, the Bad Batch is clones, which the Empire view as useless. But the Bad Batch have been causing them trouble for 3, 4 years.
What
So maybe
if
they're like, fuck it, let's make a clone that has all of their abilities,
hmm,
and then they'll be like our little assassin fucks.
what if they've based that clone's visual off tech,
Yeah,
but it's not
and this is
actually
what
tech?
yeah, this is what I'm thinking.
Hmm, possibly.
Um, I'm not saying that like this clone isn't tech, and maybe that's why he's ready early because it was easier because they didn't have to work Tech's
Hmm,
DNA into that clone; they just had to work the others in.
yeah,
But I feel like it's so obvious that it's
I know what you mean.
almost a red herring.
It could be.
That there's too many elements of all of the batch in there for me to be confident in saying it's definitely tech.
I think it's just that the not seeing Tech's body when he died just
Rule number one of any kind of
doesn't
nerd
sit
media: if
right.
you don't see a body, they're not dead.
Mm. We also got something else we predicted, which was going to happen, which is to, it's not quite to the level we probably discussed, but to save Omega, Crosshair was going to have to make a shot and he's going to miss. And he took a shot and
Missed.
he airballed it. And
Yeah.
it's like, it kind of comes down to if he had a better shot, he would have killed them guards quicker and he would have got the thing on the ship. Because I think it was less that he missed outright, he just ran out of time and missed.
Yeah.
Um, which then obviously now puts Omega in a pretty sticky spot
hmm
because we're gonna have
Omega's fucking awesome. I look back on season one of Bad Batch and the way people spoke and how negative they were about Omega. And I didn't get it at the time, but now I'm just like, you wash your filthy mouth out. She is the goat.
she has evolved a lot.
Yeah. Being around the batch has been so good for her, which is crazy because that's why she
mm,
wanted to be around the batch. She was like, I just want friends and
yeah,
brothers and stuff, and I want to be part of the gang.
it's gonna be interesting to see because obviously the way they've set an Emery up is she's obviously gonna shift sides. And I think
Absolutely.
Omega coming back and she's either gonna try and save Omega or sacrifice herself or something to do something to try and, but I also agree with you. I don't think Omega's looking great now.
Here's my issue. I just don't logically see,
Mm,
based on what we know about Omega as a character, any way where she survives this and then just goes on and lives her life with the Empire still in control.
mm. I know what you mean.
Beforehand, if all of the batch survive, I could see it. But now, having seen what the Empire does to villages and what the Empire are going to be doing to these children for Project Necromancer and this, that, and the other, if Omega makes it out of this alive, she might be the person who starts the fucking official rebellion.
Maybe.
And don't get me wrong, maybe she shouldn't die as a result of this arc,
Mm,
but she would be involved in the rebellion, and the fact that we don't have any way of saying she was there at the end of the rebellion means she
hmm.
died at some point in there.
I wouldn't be surprised if she does die at the end of this, and it's like she's causes the facility to get blown up and essentially mothball the operation for a little bit. That's why it kind of then disappears off the radar of everyone.
I can see that kind of sacrifice, and then that being what pushes Rex, Gregor, and
Yeah, see, this is the other
Wolf
thing.
out to the outer worlds,
Obviously, they're going
outer
to
rim.
try and find her, but let's be honest, Hunter, Wrecker, and Crosshair are going to be taken into custody now.
hmm
So there's no way they're going to fight their way out of that. Maybe with the little seed planted into Wolf, maybe he gets in contact with Rex, and Rex comes and saves Wrecker, Hunter, and that, and then have the info then at that point to try and go get Omega. There's gonna be some try and break out Omega, but it's got to also get to the point where they've got to get out of their situation first.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I
It's
think you're
just
right. It could
not
this
looking good.
all could end with a situation of like there's Rex, Gregor, Wolf, maybe a couple other clones. Numbers are thinned. They've kind of stopped Project Necromancy for now, thinking they've defeated it, but it's kind of just going to get mothballed. And then that's kind of where it then leads us into the rest of the time, I guess, in between.
Yeah. I mean, we've still got, what, 5 episodes left of this show?
Yeah, I think we've got 3 and then a finale double.
Season
I think.
3 episode schedule. Let's have a little look here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 more episodes.
Oh, so 2.
No more double bills.
Oh, no more double bills. Okay, I thought we had a double
No.
at the end.
The last episode is May the 1st.
Ah.
So we've got Juggernaut next week, Into the Breach the week after, Flash Strike the week after that, and the Cavalry has arrived the week after that. Hot take. Are you ready for me to get meta as fuck? The Cavalry has arrived. Some bounty hunters turn up to help, including Fennec Shand. Fennec Shand is voiced by, or was played in live action by, I think she voiced her as well.
Yeah, I think she just voiced her as well. I forget her name.
Yeah, Ming Nam Wee. I might have butchered that. I'm so sorry if I have. Who, of course, is the only actress who's been in Marvel, Star Wars, and been a Disney princess because she voiced Mulan. But in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., she played Melinda May, who was known as the Cavalry.
Oh, that is
my meta hot take. That is my meta hot take. I'm probably off, but it could be dope.
Going off those titles, it's going to be something like next episode is Rex finding out and some situation there. Then it's going to be getting Wrecker and all them out. Then it's going to be figuring out a plan. And then Cavalry arrive, I think, is them attacking the facility. And shit's going to go down. That's my prediction.
I agree. It's not going to be good.
Yes. No, I don't think it is.
But I'm excited. 97.
Oh, yes. X-Men 97. Another
Number
week.
4.
Very nostalgia trip this week.
The return of Mojo was goated because Mojo is he's a recurring villain in the original show.
Yes, I feel like I recognize the imagery, but I don't remember any of the old Mojo episodes.
As he kind of said, his whole thing was he was a interdimensional TV producer who's also a mega psychopath, and he kidnapped the X-Men on a number of occasions to be part of his crazy dangerous game shows, which are just fights to the death because they get really good ratings and that's what feeds him. And of course, he'd lost loads of weight because TVs died at the hands of video games. Quite meta.
Yep.
So then he dates Jubilee, who's obviously an arcade girly, and tries to trap her in a game. Motendo, just stunning.
Great name. Looked like a Genesis.
I mean, yeah, back in 97, that kind of makes sense. Sega Genesis was about 95, wasn't it? I mean, you were around.
Sega Genesis.
89. So a bit late.
So
but the controller is a similar shape.
But yeah, getting that 90s era almost.
And they were also 16-bit, which is correct. But yeah, so that's very cool. Got a bit of Sunspot in the adventure, although we didn't get any of his powers.
Yeah, I really thought he was going to
a little bit.
I really thought he was going to force him to kind of use his powers.
Seeing an older Jubilee like clone essentially was
Yeah.
really cool.
I was
That was
like,
really
I
cool.
was so confused who this character that had been helping them was going to be. Um, and then yeah, when it revealed it was a older Jubilee, I thought that was a really clever way of doing that. Really cool.
I will be honest. This episode makes it makes sense in context to use Mojo, but there's a character here called Arcade
Oh,
whose entire thing is like making video games and trapping superheroes in them.
huh.
So like when I saw what this episode was about, I assumed it was going to be Arcade.
Okay.
So for it to be Mojo instead was actually a bit of a twist for me because I was like, Arcade is like this is his whole mo.
Yeah. Well,
But yeah,
it allowed them to bring Mojo back and keep the recurring thing
exactly.
going. I loved the art, like that first level they got put in, and where it kept cutting between like game version of like the side scroller and then them and mixing the 8-bit and 3D sort of like visual styles. The artists clearly had so much fun with this.
I I I understand with stuff like this, it makes it take longer.
Mm,
I'm willing to wait longer when artists have good working conditions first and fucking foremost,
yeah.
but when they let them have fun with stuff like
Hmm.
this, because that's where all of this is coming from, right?
Oh
Like
yeah.
the characters' interaction, the way all the fight scenes are looking so crisp and so clean, the smoothness between 2 and 3D, the use of the 8-bit and 16-bit style in this. That only happens if artists are given a bit of playroom.
Oh yeah. And like
Um,
I
and it
saw a
needs to keep
thing.
happening.
I saw a thing as well. There's so many like hidden Easter eggs. Like on that 8-bit level, there's like a poster with all the X-Men faces on it, and it's like
Yeah,
that's from a cover of a magazine. On the character select, there's like other characters, there's a gap, and then the one right on the edge, apparently someone has zoomed in and it looks like Cable. So it's like hint at, and it's like hiding some all those things in. It's just it, like you said, the artists have the freedom to have fun with it and
yeah,
put in that detail to hide all these things in. It was
for
very
sure.
cool.
It was so much fun to watch. I'm not sure how I feel about it being like a medley episode almost
Yeah, it was. It almost felt filler-esque,
for the
but
first half of the episode.
yeah, but then it's like it kind of made somewhat of sense, I guess. I feel like it was they needed something after what happened last episode. There was obviously going to be a bit of a dip as need to let time pass for things to escalate.
Yeah,
That's allowed them to bring Mojo back, which maybe this is the only time that they could kind of fit that in and it makes sense. Um, and then I guess it's a way to kind of it was Jubilee's birthday, so let's have something a bit more fun for that episode, maybe. But we also got the Forge stuff as well.
so I've not read the comic. I did a bit of research.
Mm.
The Forge Storm stuff is a very popular, by the looks of it, X-Men arc from back in the
Oh,
late
okay.
80s. Um, so I've done a little bit of looking into it. I didn't want to look in too much because I didn't want the story to be spoiled for me. It's
Hmm.
not like I'm going to go back and read the comics like right this
Hmm.
minute anyway. Um, but some people were a bit unhappy that the start of that arc only got half an episode. They're like, "Come on now, we could have done a full episode here." Um,
Yeah,
so people are a little bit unsure about that. I think they would rather have seen the Mojo Jubilee stuff fleshed out a little bit into a full episode,
I get you.
even if it might have been more of a filler episode, but like allow us to have a lot of fun with the fight sequences in there.
Yeah,
And then from next week move into the Forge and Storm storyline, and kind of go from there. At the end of the day, we'll see how it plays out.
yeah.
I the episode was still really good. I did find the contrast between like the bright arcade mojo craziness
Hmm.
to like the quite almost drama esque Storm and Forge stuff
Yeah.
was like quite jarring. Like it felt like two distinct episodes anyway.
Yeah, it did. It
So
feels like I
I
watched two.
completely agree with that criticism of they're so different. Just make them their own episodes anyway, and then allow yourself to fill it out a little bit more.
Mm.
But I still really enjoyed it, and I'm gonna chow down on next week's episode.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I'm so ready for it.
I mean, there's obviously they're setting up Storm getting her powers back,
Yeah,
and then there was also the talk of the little setup at the breakfast thing about like NATO and getting Genosa. So they're obviously setting things up for where things are going to go in the future here.
absolutely. And it was cool for Forge to get a bit more explanation as to what his powers are and stuff like that.
Because I didn't
Because I
really
feel
know
like
much about him, and then also finding out that he was essentially the source of the collars and stuff
yeah,
was
and this is the thing. It's quite a recurring theme that the government hates mutants, but every chance they get to use them for something, they take that
mhm.
advantage. They turn Wolverine into a murderous
Yep.
weapon. They work with Professor X to help keep an eye on mutants. They
Hmm.
will use them any chance they get, but at the end of the
Throw
day,
them
it's
away.
only ever so they can control them more.
Yep.
Um, Invincible finale. Brother, this
I'm
guy's awesome.
I'm gonna be honest. It was an amazing finale. I wanted someone to die,
Someone did die.
but no,
Quite
you
brutally.
know what I mean. I we talked about our prediction was something was going to happen to Oliver.
Did you not for the entire episode feel like you're on the edge of your seat worried
Oh
about
yeah.
there being Oliver though?
Oh, I was right there. I think that's the only thing. I feel like I was teased. Like I had this anticipation of something, and then that's obviously just come from ourselves. We've
Yeah.
like built this up, but it's like I was right there thinking something's gonna happen. And that's gonna be he's gonna snap, and I get
So
it. Like,
I
oh,
I've got two main things. Give Stephen Ewan all of the voice acting awards.
yeah,
He's phenomenal in this episode. The amount of pain and stuff he manages to pour out in this
hmm
episode is crazy impressive. It sucks that he's had to back out of his role as Sentry in the
yeah.
MCU because he would have cooked. Secondly, I've known for a while at some point there's going to be a "I thought you were strong" a bit, but I knew that was a thing that happened, but I
Okay.
didn't know when or where. So when I've loaded into this episode and I've seen the title is "I thought you were stronger," I was like,
Mm,
"Oh shit! What? How does? Oh,
okay.
um, that was brutal and like gut wrenching and."
hmm
Like as much as we like Mark and like we know he's a good guy, it was actually kind of scary just watching him eviscerate this person.
like letting no longer holding back.
Yeah.
Do you know what's wild though? And it's like it was only like a little bit after I'd watched the episode that kind of sunk in. This finale is essentially a mirror of the first season finale. When you think about Omni Man beat the shit out of Mark, covered in blood, he's now just done the same, and that just mirrors this whole thing of like him feeling like he just became his dad, and he scared himself in that sense. He's like, I am no different. The writing to do that and the visualize it in a very similar way, like that whole over a crater. It was almost like a mirror thing. Just switch out Omni Man for Mark,
Hmm.
which is
It's
yeah.
it is impressively good writing, and once again, it just adds to the argument of comic books and that kind of medium is still such true art form, not just in the physical drawings, but in the actual writing as well. Because
Mhm.
wow,
We didn't get his new suit though.
we didn't.
I feel like we
did get
got.
Spider-Man though.
Well, we'll get to that, but I feel like we got teased on his new suit because obviously the lower half was just black and blue.
Yeah,
That's all he was left in. Also, the title card, which we thought was leading up to the whole suit thing. I love how they've just got more creative this season with having random people with the ones that say, I feel cutting. Like the random guy running down the street.
yeah. It'll be curious to see how they do it next year or
I.
next season. I assume, based on what I know about the black and blue suit arc, where he's
Mm,
maybe a little bit more aggressive. I wonder if it's going to be a case where you've got villains going, "Oh shit, it's,"
oh,
and they go that
maybe.
way instead.
That would be
Because
cool.
we've had him doing it, we've had casual, like good
Of a,
people doing
yeah.
it. Now having people say it in a like a fearful way could be quite
Mm,
cool.
that would be. But yeah, the Spider Man cameo.
So they
I
clearly
love
couldn't
it.
get the rights.
Yeah. It was
They
clear.
did such a good job for not being able to get the rights.
I love that they were like, they got voice actor lined up, they got the story lined up, they knew what they wanted to do. They probably went to Marvel and like, look, this is what we want to do. Will you let us use the Spider Man branding? And they've gone, yes, for this fat check or something. And they've gone, well, we can't do that. And they're going, well, then no. And they've gone, okay, fine, we won't. And they've just gone to the artist and said, this is Spider Man, this is
But it's
Dr.
not.
Ock, but do this in a way that we don't get sued.
I honestly thought to save themselves it was going to be Professor Squid. But when he went Prof Ock, I was like, fucking hell, we are flying close to the sun, aren't we?
Well, he was called Agent Spider.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Still,
okay,
Agent Spider I think's a lot
yeah,
fucking
true.
safer than Prof Ock.
As soon as it like he came through the portal and he was there, I paused because on Prime you can hover over and see, and I was like, okay, they are not calling it Spider-Man. It is Agent Spider. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I know what this is. This is what Connor was wanting, but not quite what he wanted.
So obviously in the comic it's a bigger interaction with Spider-Man. He gets stuck there for a while. But we get another little kind of homage to that Spider-Man scene later on with Batman.
Yes, the Batman teaser.
So when he's there with Batman
Talking to
and
someone.
he's taking the piss out of his name,
Mm-hmm.
that actually happened in the Spider-Man interaction.
Okay.
So he's like, so you have the powers of a spider and you're a man, so you're called Spider-Man. Do you think that's a bit lazy? And then Spider-Man in Spider-Man fashion goes, what's your name? He's like, Invincible. He's like, don't you think that's a bit ambitious? And then he takes him to meet the Avengers.
Oh, okay.
And he introduces Iron Man. And then he tries to guess the rest. And I'm pretty sure he calls like Captain America Flagman.
Fair.
Which was really, really funny. So I enjoyed them like not wanting to lose out on that joke, but finding a different way to make it work.
Yeah, and like obviously that came probably partly they didn't want to push the Spider-Man thing too much.
Yeah.
And then also I do think with the rise of superhero media, like including DC, is like a clever nod as well to that side of things. I did enjoy like him starting. He's like, so you dress like a bat, and you're in this like dark clothes, and you go by. Do you not think that's? It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, this is Batman. I loved also all the classic like multiverse tropes of Zombieland and a nuked world and dinosaurs.
Did you notice the other big cameo that was doing the rounds on Twitter?
I don't know.
When he comes out of the portal and smacks him with the sniper rifle. That's
Yeah.
a gun from Fortnite. That's a Fortnite gun.
Wait, was it?
Yes.
I was like, that gun is really brightly coloured. I just kind of didn't really think anything of it.
Yeah, that is the bolt action or one of the snipers from Fortnite with a Fortnite skin on it.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
Like people have found like the image in Fortnite of the exact same thing.
Oh, that's cool.
Because obviously Invincible's in Fortnite now.
Yeah.
So like they clearly have a decent relationship, which probably made that really fucking easy. But that's like a really funny way of nodding to that.
Yeah, I do like that. Because that's something that
Especially
obviously wouldn't
because,
be in the comics.
and also a lot of Fortnite crossovers enjoy doing like side by side comics. So if they were like getting ready to do like a 4-issue Invincible miniseries on how Invincible ended up in the Fortnite universe, that is how right there,
Yeah,
isn't it? He got thrown through a portal, and that's how he got caught in the loop, whatever it's called.
that would be quite cool.
Yeah,
Uh,
but the way this episode kept me on the edge, worried about
yeah.
Debbie and Oliver, was so impressive.
And the constant, like, you're like, okay, maybe he's not going to do anything to them. And then he does something another level up, and you're like, oh shit, no, they are about to, one of them's going to die. Then when he breaks Debbie's arm, I was like, oh, mum's not going to die. This is it for Oliver. Oliver's
Mm,
done for. Um, I really enjoyed like the whole fight sequence, essentially, of like how he kept tricking him into going through portals and playing him against himself. But when he eventually takes him on head first, and Mark's getting absolutely beat the shit out of, they go through portal after portal. When he then flips the switch and starts beating the shit out of him,
yeah,
when he's going mental and obviously losing himself, all that is like intense as it is. In my head, I'm just like, you're gonna get stuck there. You're gonna get stuck there. What are you doing? You're fucking this up. You're doing it wrong. And then obviously it takes him so long to suddenly like click. Oh shit! No, I'm stuck here now.
yeah. And I'm really curious to know if we find out. I assume we do. What that alternate future where he doesn't get saved is like.
Mm.
Because they said we're from your Earth, but 20 years in the future, once we have the technology to do this and come
Yeah,
save you. And he's like, I don't know if I'd have survived. And they're like, you would have, but you wouldn't have liked who you become. I'm just kind of like,
yeah.
excuse me?
It was like, oh, we're gonna tease you on what this has led to, but we're not actually gonna give you it. He's actually gonna.
Yeah. Because, I mean, we know obviously his portals don't work in space. Oh, sorry, they don't work in, yeah, space. It's like the portals are exactly the same place in each universe,
Mm-hmm.
which means he's in the center of the same city. And we know this is a planet where the Viltrumites destroyed Earth.
Yep.
Does he like get found by the Viltrumites of that Earth and like become their leader? Does he like get indoctrinated into them and then he like becomes the dangerous, scary Viltrumite that he becomes it in other universes? Like,
Well, here's
what
the thing.
happens?
They must have found him after he's been there for a long time, or is it they know he survived and what he became because he came back?
Yeah,
Like
that's what I take it as.
he
He
obviously
survived, he became
found
something
some
and
way,
found his way back. Yeah.
and then they're like, "Ah, shit, we need to find him before all this." And if you think about it, though, if he's on that planet, like dealing with that, talking to, he's gonna just spiral himself. You can imagine he just becomes this like crazed Viltrumite who then
Yeah.
eventually escapes, gets back to Earth. It's 20 years.
A
Everything's gone to
crazy
shit.
hermit man with Viltrumite powers is not a vibe.
No, you can imagine he got back to Earth. Viltrumites are there taking over. He just goes like batshit. I also thought it was interesting how they were like, it took us 20 years because we had to get the tech. We have the free only portal things. And then we had to search universes. It's like that shows that maybe there's a potential they get this tech anyway. Now he's back, or did they not because they don't need it? There's like, and I also them like Atom Eve telling him, "I love you," might have messed up the timeline now. A lot of potential
I
things could have changed.
I have got a strong feeling that this is not the end of any kind of time travel shenanigans or potentially time jump shenanigans. Maybe
Mm.
we like end an arc. He like defeats like an initial Viltrumite attack, and then we get like a 10-year time jump when the Viltrumites try again. and then we've got like a more grown up Invincible and supporting cast, and we have different things to worry about.
Maybe.
I don't want to wait for season 3, Horry. I want it now.
Yeah,
This show is fucking phenomenal.
this is the problem, because we also, like, the show ended with Alan rocking up on, obviously, on the ship like we discussed, and it was his plan. And he's like, yeah, I'm here to get you out, talking telepathically. And then Omni-Man reveals, I'm missing my wife. And it's like,
the
oh shit.
the funniest thing ever is, and I hate to get political, but we're going to just because it's so funny, is all of the right wingers who are like, oh, Omni-Man and Homelander are dope. I resonate with them so much. And then we've got us over here going, cool, Omni-Man's becoming a crying little bitch because he's realised he's hurt people's feelings and now he understands what that means. And Homelander is literally a crybaby. These are not the W's you think they are.
It's funny. It's like we've got two sides of it. Yeah, we got Homelander's being the crybaby, and we've got Omni-Man who's like suddenly going, wait, I'm actually thinking for myself and feeling things now. What is this? I'm confused.
I don't like that I've made people upset. I would love for, like, I don't know where it goes. Like, I know bits and pieces, but I don't know a lot about the rest of Omni-Man's arc. I would love him to turn into some kind of like pacifist hippie Viltrumite that just sits there with his legs crossed floating. He's like, I will never ever raise a fist again.
It just dodges everything rather than fighting back.
Yeah,
I love that he was like,
style, just...
he was like, yeah, I remember you, alien guy. And he's like, it's Alan. my name's Alan.
That felt racist.
It was almost like, I remember you, but I didn't care enough to know who you are. I can't wait.
There's no way Debbie takes Nolan back, right?
No. Surely not.
Like, it would take some doing, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe that's the happy ending, though. Maybe Mark creates a safe enough space where Nolan, Debbie, and Oliver go live somewhere far, far away, and they have their own little happy life together.
Maybe.
Where Nolan can be a pacifist, Oliver can live without worry, and Debbie gets to have her husband around and raise the son.
Well, I mean, we know, obviously, like you say, I don't want to wait for season 3, but we know season 3 there's going to be a sick breakout for Omni-Man. Yeah. Whatever episode that is going to be such a cool fight. We're going to have Mark in a new suit, Mark in his training arc, getting better, getting stronger. Advancements in the Guardians of the Globe. What else can we expect? Obviously, there's going to be the Viltrumites that are going to probably arrive and want to fight. So,
I don't know a lot of the arc. I wouldn't be surprised if season 3 ends with like a first wave attack from the Viltrumite Empire that gets repelled. And then we get like another season and a half where they think that the Viltrumites have been dealt with, and then there's a bigger, scarier attack.
The actual attack rocks up.
Yes. And I do think you're right that, like the future Guardians of the Globe said, we have the time machines and we have the portal hopping technology. What if the Viltrumite Empire 20 years in the future gets hold of them now because of the change in timeline, and they go to all these parallel universes to gather more Viltrumites to build like a multi-dimensional Viltrumite Empire to resupply and attack together?
Maybe.
Because you know what the Viltrumites are like? Once they have enough power, they're not going to be happy with just dominating one universe. They're going to want them all.
True. That's a good point.
So I wonder if that's like the second wave attack.
That would be wild. But yeah, we've got to wait. All I can say,
it's just a year.
However long the wait is, I would much rather have a longer wait now and the season be ready rather than this bullshit 3-month mid-season thing again. Please don't do that to us again.
Never again.
I would rather have a between season wait be longer, and you give us like, I don't know, there's a 2 week mid-season break over Christmas or something, like an actual mid-season break, no longer than a month, somewhere between like 2 to 4 weeks. I'm fine with that, but like none of this 3 month gap. I'd rather wait now and it be ready, and you give us it a
I
little
completely
longer.
agree. I'd rather have to wait 15 months to get the season straight
Mhm.
than 12 months to have a 3 month break in the middle again.
Yeah,
You're absolutely right.
100%.
Um, should we get into some nerdy news?
Yes, I think we should. It's been quite a juicy week.
Marvel have cooked this week.
Disney has, to be fair.
So, Marvel has given free online access to Fantastic Four #1,
Hmm.
1961, Fantastic Four number 48, 49, and 50 from the initial run. These are the first appearances of Silver Surfer and Galactus. And Fantastic Four Life Story #1. So Life Story is a, as far as I know, pretty controversial line of comics they did,
Oh,
where they took
okay.
iconic Marvel characters. Oh, I've lost audio again. I'll keep talking there.
Okay.
Where they took iconic Marvel characters and they planned out their like 50-year comic history as if it
Oh,
had happened in real time.
okay.
So, like for instance, like I've got the Spider-Man life story entire run,
Right.
um,
Okay.
and in that, by the time Miles is a hero, Pete is in his 50s.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the whole idea is, what if they were aging naturally
Hmm.
throughout the character's entire history to give you a better idea of how long these big arcs were.
Yep. I get you.
Um, so it's making it very clear we're going back to the early days of the Fantastic Four.
Mm.
And it's also making it very clear that Silver Surfer and Galactus
Mm.
are going to be important. Very interestingly, Julia Garner, who was in Inventing Anna and Ozark,
Okay.
has reportedly been cast as Charla Ball, who is the love interest or is related to Northern Rad, who's the Silver Surfer, and she's the female Silver Surfer. But in one of the alternate Marvel universes, she is the Silver Surfer.
Ooh.
So people are now starting to piece together what universe they think this is being based off a little bit as well. And they're trying to use that to piece together what universe this is taking place in, because it doesn't sound like this is taking place on the main Marvel timeline. It sounds like we're joining the Fantastic Four already,
On a
once they've
branched.
been the Fantastic Four for a few years. They're
Mm.
already quite famous in a different universe. The even more exciting bit,
Go on.
the Fantastic Four aren't on the main MCU timeline. Galactus eats worlds. What the fuck is stopping them from letting Galactus eat a world? And the Fantastic Four just managed to escape.
I mean, this is what I was just thinking, because isn't Galactus, couldn't that also link in the Eternal stuff?
Yes.
So it's like you say, what if they escape through the quantum realm or another means, and they're, like you said, Galactus eats their world, then they tie in Galactus is coming after.
Or, I mean, I'm not 100% up to date here on Secret Invasion. Or no, sorry, not Secret Invasion, Secret Wars. But I believe the recent Secret Wars, the incursion in that
Hmm.
was caused by one of the Reed Richards trying to save their world.
Okay.
I might be off here, but what if that is true? What if whatever Reed does to stop Galactus triggers the incursions, and
Oh,
that's how they
maybe.
start bringing all these universes in together?
Interesting. There's
Because
definitely
they don't want to leave it with there being all these different
no.
Earths in
Well, we've
the
seen
films.
they've obviously got like they're using the notation now going forward
Mm.
of main timeline, branch timeline.
Mm-hmm.
they've kind of set all this up. So yeah, I do think they don't want to stick constantly you having to guess like pay attention to, oh, okay, this film's in a branch timeline or this is an alternate timeline.
They want to do incursions. They want to get all of the characters because they now own them again
Mm-hmm.
on one timeline and do a mini reset, which is what
But yeah,
Secret
they're
War's going to
using
allow them to do.
the multiverse setup they've done to essentially allow that. Yeah.
But yes, very, very cool. And anyone who's being a weirdo on the internet claiming the MCU's gone woke for hiring a female Silver Surfer, open a fucking comic book.
Yeah. Why does it matter?
Exactly. It's crazy. There have been a metric butt fuck ton, I believe is the official measurement, of Daredevil set leaks this week. We're not going to get into too many, but we are going to talk one massive spoiler. So unplug your ears and I'll wave at the camera when it's safe again. John Berthnell was on set as Punisher.
Which is very exciting. And I'm so glad they got him
Yes.
back.
Yes. And the other little bit that was interesting is they showed a dirty cop wearing the Punisher logo.
Ooh.
I'm not sure Disney have got the balls for it. But in a world where Marvel themselves recently changed the
Yeah.
Punisher's logo because police officers were using it and they didn't like it, I would love it so much if they had the balls for Frank to do what Frank Castle would actually do and brutally murder these police officers and go, you guys said you're here to protect the law. You shouldn't look up to me. You should despise me and want to stop me.
They could do a double whammy, right? They could do that, like you say, which would be a pretty ballsy thing for them to do. And then also in the process be like, he changes his logo. So then it matches up with the comics.
Maybe.
Because he's like, he gets rid of them, but then it's kind of a bit, he doesn't feel right using that logo anymore. So he kind of changes it up to be like, look, I'm not you guys.
But let's just be completely clear. Frank Castle is a piece of shit and a bad human being.
Well, yeah.
And cops should not agree with him. Comic book cops agreeing with him have literally always been murdered by the Punisher. And cops in real life who feel like they can use the Punisher's signal or symbol rather shouldn't be allowed on police force. They can't be trusted. Star Wars.
Yes. Very exciting Star Wars. We did.
2 seasons of Tales of the Jedi, or am I tripping?
No, it was just one. It was like two stories, 6 episodes.
2 stories. It was Count Dooku and Ahsoka, each with like 6 shorts.
Yep.
Or 3 shorts. We're now getting Tales of the Empire.
Yes. I'm so excited. We're getting Morgan Elsbeth, who we've seen in both Ahsoka and Mando.
Yeah.
Witch Lady. And I forget which Inquisitor it is, but the green-skinned Inquisitor, her storyline of how she becomes Inquisitor,
is which that is also the 5th sister.
I think something like that. But
I can't remember exactly which one, but yeah.
This will be very interesting because we haven't really seen anything of how the Inquisitors were trained and brought in. Obviously, we've seen more of them from the games recently with Fallen Jedi and stuff, but the Inquisitors still in like Star Wars media, not including like books and comics and stuff that have shown them, but like it's still very new, so it's very interesting to see the behind the scenes of it and the tease that Darth Vader is their master. So we get a little tease of that. We also got
the pappy
tease of Thrawn with a slightly different visual style, which I kind of think is them pulling him more into the Ahsoka visual look.
Yeah.
Which I think is smart.
And it kind of it's going to build on that relationship between Morgan Elsbeth and Thrawn predating Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Which will definitely be interesting to see.
And then we also we're going to get to see the old General Grievous dusted off.
Yeah.
Missed having him. That looks like it's going to be sick.
It'll be an interesting one for sure.
But I put in our chat when this trailer came out, we've had Tales of the Jedi. This is Tales of the Empire. I really want Tales of the Hunter. And we get like a Boba and like Cad Bane sort of little
Boba in between
episodes.
the last time we see him in Clone Wars versus the
Mm,
original trilogy. What was he doing?
maybe like Cad Bane from like, what was he doing between when we last see him in like Bad Batch and then Book of Boba Fett? Like, what's he been up
I
to?
think I'd be more interested in young Cad Bane. What was
Oh
he
yeah,
doing
true.
before he first appeared in the Clone Wars?
How did he become a bounty hunter? That could,
Yeah,
yeah, true.
yeah. I would definitely be down for a Tales of the Hunters for sure. It would very much depend on who they decided to do it on, though.
Yeah, I think they could have some fun with it though.
Absolutely. Some DC news.
Mm.
Joker, A Folie à Dire, has been rated R for some strong violence, strong language throughout, some sexuality, and brief full nudity. Joaquin Phoenix whacking his cock out? Pog? Joker cock?
What a sentence. What have I just heard?
I don't know why. Maybe it's worse or not. I don't know. But seeing that there's full nudity, knowing that Lady Gaga's one of the leads in the film, in my head, I'm just instantly like, I have to make a joke about how I want it to be Joaquin Phoenix's cock, just so people don't think I'm some like person obsessed with Lady Gaga being nude. Realistically, I do also think it's more likely that we get Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
He's down for some stuff when he's filming stuff he cares about, and I know he's getting paid a fuck ton more money for this than he did the first one, but he does seem to also like quite enjoy doing this stuff. So I don't know, we'll see.
I saw like that this is gonna have so many like old school songs that everyone knows.
Yeah, by the sounds of it, it's not a musical, but rather they've got loads of songs from a certain time period.
I wonder if that's where all the
And
budget
that's how
went.
it's gonna... Maybe.
There's so
If they've
many
got
songs they had
To
to
be
pay
fair,
for
if they've got like a
licensing.
bunch of 80s and 90s music in there, shit ain't cheap.
No. All that licensing.
Yeah. I mean, never know. You should just make it all Lady Gaga songs and then just like get her to agree to it for like the art of the film.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
We've also heard like the first audio tease of Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. There's been some discussion.
Mm.
I see both sides, which is actually quite rare and quite refreshing.
Oh.
Some people are not happy because they think it's not Harley Quinn enough.
Well, that was always going to happen.
Other people, which I do think I lean slightly more to, are like, cool, Harley Quinn is supposed to be a New Yorker. Lady Gaga is a New Yorker. She's just not hamming it up like we're used to seeing from Harley Quinn because Harley's like came through cartoons.
Yeah.
Cartoon voice acting is always a bit more out there, which kind of set Harley off in a weird place.
Yeah,
not a bad place, but just weird.
It's the only reference anyone has.
Exactly. So then, when she came to live action, Margot Robbie decided to call on the only other inspiration for voice there's been, and now people are like quite nailed in on this is what Harley has to sound like. This is quite a different take on the Joker and that entire world anyway. I don't think it sounds abhorrently weird. It's just a bit of a getting used to it. At the end of the day, there are people who didn't dislike Jared Leto's Joker voice. And that, I think, is far more offensive than Lady Gaga's Harley voice.
What do you mean? It was pure art. Yeah, no, you're not wrong though.
So, I mean, it's a wait. This entire film is a wait and see situation. I've said it for a while now. This film is either going to be a 1 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10, and neither will shock me.
I mean, there's one thing
to walk out of that cinema angry that I bought the ticket, or ready to tell everyone on planet Earth they have to go see it right now.
I mean, it can't be any worse than what Sony's put out recently. So
exactly. I'm still excited for this film. I've got a feeling it's going to be one of them things where, even if it is more on the bad side, it's going to be a very unique experience, and I think that's what cinema needs more of.
Agreed.
And also Joaquin Phoenix cock.
Can't wait to clip these things.
At WonderCon,
Mm,
Sam Raimi said he'd love to direct Secret Wars,
I saw this.
but he's very clear that no one's asked him. No one's shown any interest in asking him, but he wants them to ask him.
I can't imagine they've asked anyone yet.
I mean, they had someone, but then apparently they changed their mind, didn't they? I don't think they've asked anyone since.
Yeah, and but
Um,
I mean, with the way
it's
things
a
have gone
tricky one.
recently, it doesn't surprise me.
I love Sam Raimi. I think he genuinely cares about comic book movies in a way not many people do.
Mm-hmm.
What he did for Spider-Man 1 and 2 is literally genre changing. For a long time, I held a lot of resentment towards what he did with Spider-Man 3, but having grown up and worked multiple jobs now, and also hearing more about what happened around Spider-Man 3, I can see that there were some decisions made above his pay grade, and he kind of fell out of love with the project, and that's why it went a bit to shit.
Yep.
And all of the criticisms of Multiverse of Madness fall more on the script rather than the directing, and he didn't write the script.
Mm.
So, as long as it's a good script for Secret Wars, I'm all for Sam Raimi getting an opportunity to do it.
Yeah, I mean, like you say,
I mean, there's been a lot of discussion that Marvel want him back for projects. For a little while, he almost took over Blade.
yeah, that's the
So,
thing.
like,
Like,
clearly want him for something.
it wouldn't surprise me if he is on their radar, but
I think it'd be crazy if he wasn't.
since they dropped the other director, and then they've completely been going through like so many reshuffles of what release dates, then a shuffle of like changing direction, we're trimming things, and like things getting shot.
A new big bad.
Yeah, there's so much changing. They probably don't even know where Secret Wars sits at the moment, and like it's not even a priority right now. Well, somewhat will be a priority, I imagine, but it's not number one priority of getting a director locked in.
But since we're discussing it, me and Horizontal would like to throw our hat in the ring as co-directors of Secret Wars. I reckon we do a good job.
I mean, I'll be director of photography.
Why are you selling yourself short? We'll direct the whole film, shot for shot.
I'm not. No, I'll be director. I'll be DP.
Imagine the vlog. Imagine the first episode back. We disappeared for 2 years to direct a film. We're like, so where have we been? Horizontal, how's your 2 years been? We're both just disheveled and really thin where we've been working such a long day. We're like, made a film. Please go watch it. Twitter's horrible.
I mean, on that though, realistically, if you do somehow hear this and you just want someone to come and do photography behind the scenes and not leak, I promise I will not leak them to our podcast.
I might leak.
I will.
Because Hori will leak them to me.
No, I won't. Legally, I am saying I would not do that.
Yeah, so I think it would be crazy for Sam Raimi to not be on their shortlist. I do think it is more likely they've just not even really thought about it yet.
I think they're going to wait till Fantastic Four's out and get a reception of this new sort of direction a bit.
Realistically, the two names on my shortlist for Secret Wars to be spoken about are Ryan Coogler and Sam Raimi. They're the two directors who've already worked in the MCU that I think I confidently trust with such a big film.
Just let Kevin do it.
Just let Feige become a director instead of a producer.
Just give him full reins.
Just the flattest imagery you've ever seen. On some very sad news to wrap it all up.
Yes, some pretty shocking news from this week.
This came out of nowhere, and you sent me the message telling me it happened. I just sat there. I was like, "Wow, that."
Yeah, I saw the news on TikTok, and I was like, "This can't be real. Like, this must be just like some bait thing." Check the comments, and even people in the comments didn't know. But yeah, unfortunately, Chance Perdomo. I think I've said his last name correct there. But
Yeah,
best known recently for playing Andre in Gen V. Amazing role. Unfortunately, has passed away. He had a motorcycle
yeah.
accident, and he's only 27, which is wild to me.
It's horrifically sad that just. I
What's
mean, it's always out of nowhere when it's a motorcycle accident, but I think like that puts him squarely in between us age-wise, doesn't it?
yeah,
Yeah. So realistically, this is someone like we have friends that are this kind of age.
yeah, it's literally like
So
one of
like,
us, our group,
yeah,
suddenly just out of nowhere. Yeah.
really, really
Especially,
sad.
I think what was more shocking is like we knew there was the rumor that Gen V was going to start
Yeah, it
season
was due to
2.
start filming in a
Yeah.
couple of weeks, I think, or a couple of months.
Which, yeah. I
Yeah,
think what's,
based on how close they were on set as well, and all like the stuff they filmed before the strike for promo, it seemed like that was a really tight knit cast as well. So I
mhm,
imagine all the people who worked on Gen V and got to experience the astronomical success of that show together probably feel like they've lost a brother as well.
yeah.
And of course, his family will be in pieces. Really, really sad, and it absolutely sucks that this ever happens. Um, and it sucks
Yeah,
that it's
it's gone
someone that's
too
done
soon,
art that
unfortunately.
people care about. And on that somber note, we will
Mm,
wrap this episode up. We will be back again next week with more content. Is next week
yes.
another Josh episode? It might be. I don't know. Um,
Possibly. It might be Josh might be returning with some more gaming news.
if you haven't already, please consider liking and subscribing. It helps out a bunch with the
Yes, it
channel
does.
and the analytics. And we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week.